Hello, this is Paranormal Experiencer. Today we're going to get a little personal. If you can't handle dark subjects, I suggest you click off this video. You're going to learn more about me, so here goes nothing. Well, I was abused by my mentally handicapped brother when I was younger, which a lot of people may find unbelievable. He would attack my mother as well. When he attacked me, he left bruises. One time he grabbed my arm so hard he left a massive bruise. A teacher had asked about it, and I lied to her by saying it was an accident. My brother had once stabbed my mother with a fork on the head. She started bleeding. I was 8 years old when this happened. He also headbutted me as well. I get headaches that last for 3 days. I think he's the reason why I get really bad headaches. Now what I'm going to tell you is even darker and quite disturbing. I strongly believe I was molested when I was a child. I don't know who would have potentially done this to me at all. I just don't remember it ever happening. However, I do show several signs of it. One side of the story was that I felt sexually as a child, but I won't say exactly what I did and no one ever noticed. Eating disorders is another sign, which in my case, I ate too much. I started gaining weight at 5 because I started to eat a lot. I'll just list the rest of the symptoms of molestation I can relate to. Disturbing sexual fantasies, depression, anxiety, social withdrawal, severe headaches when I was younger, physically inactive and overweight, severe gag reflex, and suicidal thoughts. Well, I remember an incident that occurred when I was between the ages of 10 to 12. It could have been a dream, but it felt just too real. I had been sleeping in the basement at my father's friend's house. She's a woman, by the way. When a blanket was pulled away from me, it caused me to wake up. The boyfriend of my dad's friend was standing over me, but my father was standing 6 feet behind him. The boyfriend said something to my father, but I couldn't recall what he said. I just didn't like the way he was looking at me. I wished he would go away. He dropped the blanket, but then he pulled it off of me again a few seconds later. I looked down and realized my red panties were showing, so I quickly placed my hands over my private area. I guess my nightgown rolled up because I had been tossing and turning in my sleep. I wondered why my dad didn't stop him, but he didn't. I wish this hadn't been just a disturbing dream, but I had a strong feeling it wasn't. Now let's talk about my teenage years. This is when depression hit me. I experienced strong mood changes during this time, but it could be related to puberty and hormones. One minute I could be sad and the next I could be angry. But mostly, this mostly happened at home. When my brother brought out the anger in me, he would do it on purpose too. My brother was medicated during this time, so his attacks on my mom and I started to become less frequent. They're basically non-existent now. When I started high school, I started fading from reality. I would escape into my reading and writing. I started reading books on the supernatural, or aka vampires. First, I read the whole Twilight series. Then I checked out the other vampire novels from the school library. I kind of became obsessed with them, and I still am. While in my junior year of high school, I started writing my own book. It became my obsession. I never finished it though, since there was a lot of things that got in the way. After high school, I discovered a site called Wattpad. I believe a friend mentioned it to me. I started writing Twilight fanfictions and some originals. All of them were about vampires. My writing did become sinister at times, but my followers loved it. During my first year of college, my thoughts became even darker. I became depressed and I contemplated on committing suicide. I don't know why I felt this way, but it could be because I felt lonely and that no one ever loved me like a significant other would. I could feel lonely even if I was surrounded by people. One time I held a knife against my wrist and dragged it across my skin without cutting myself. I just became so overwhelmed I wanted to end everything. I thought about killing myself quite brutally. Some nights I cried myself to sleep for no reason. During the winter of 2012, I discovered I had quite a few psychic abilities. The major one was I was an empath. I started trying to develop my psychic abilities through meditation. Also, I would communicate with my spirit guide this way. When the next semester of college started, I did it less frequently. It was almost 5 months before I worked on it again. When December of 2013 came around, everything went downhill because my father passed away, and I was the one that found him. My father had been depressed and committed suicide. He had shot himself. I had just finished cooking supper and called him to the kitchen, but he didn't come. My father had been in his room all day, but I didn't think anything of it because he would sleep all day when he worked. And I became anxious when the image of him dead popped into my head. I tried getting into his room and we found he had it locked. After charging at the door a few times, it finally opened. I walked around the bed in the darkness and turned the light on. I became horrified by the sight in front of me. My father was surrounded in blood. My anxiety got the best of me and I began to panic. But after a minute, I quickly grabbed the phone and called 911. I just couldn't control myself and yelled that my father was dead or he shot himself. I'm not sure which one it was anymore. I was so flustered that I couldn't remember the address, so I read it off to someone in the mail. A friend of my father's, who was a cop, was the one to show up. He was devastated. After talking to the police for a few hours, I stayed the night at my uncle's house. I couldn't fall asleep though. I was haunted by the image of how I found my father. After my father's passing, I became extremely depressed. I couldn't handle it and started overeating. I gained 6 pounds in about 2 years. The thoughts of suicide started up again. My mind just went to dark places. My life has been plagued with death, which a lot of close relatives have passed away since I was a teenager. In late March of 2015, I had a terrifying paranormal experience. A demon had made itself known. The next morning, I did a paranormal investigation and asked a few questions. I left the television on because I was scared. But what I heard when I played it back sent chills down my spine. The thing had hissed my name. I went 5 months without having a paranormal experience, but in August I started seeing shadows and animal spirits as well. Things started to escalate because the demon started to attack me when I was sleeping. One time I woke up to it sexually assaulting me. It caused me to have really weird dreams as well. My aunt had passed away in October of 2015. She had went into a diabetic coma and never came out of it. During 2015, I started practicing my gifts again and tried to focus on sending her healing waves, but I guess I was too far away or she was too far gone for help. Her spirit had visited me a few weeks after her passing. I don't recall what she said though because I had been asleep when she started speaking to me. What's happening to me my whole life and my experiences strongly influenced my poetry and the horror stories I read on my blog. It also fuels my stories I put on Wattpad. Well, this is my dark side and how it fuels my creativity. I'll post the links to the experiences I've mentioned above. It'll either lead to a video or a blog post. I hope you enjoy this video, but not too much. Have a nice day and hope to see you on my YouTube channel.